25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Beautiful day out there today. You know, the only animal whisperer that I ever could, the only animal I can communicate with ever was my dog. My dog knew what I meant. I swear, and I knew what she meant. When she would look at me, I knew she wanted whatever I was eating. I knew that it was. Can I have some of that? Can I have some of that? That was pretty much her only thing she ever said. Can I have some of that? So anyway, the other day I was wishing that I was a crow whisperer. Are you ready for this?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, because I was driving here at the mall, and there was a crow, and he had a twig in his mouth. And I was thinking, I wonder how long it took him to pick out that twig. I mean, I wonder if there were any twigs that were rejected. Did he look at a twig and say, yeah, that's a little too big, that's a little too small, that's a little too weak. Here's the twig I need. So I wish I could have said to him, hey, there's a bunch of twigs on the other side of Sears. Yeah. Just to see, maybe. I don't know if I could maybe communicate to him. On the phone is Sandra Mendelson. She's written a beautiful book and a deck of cards. I guess you would call them a deck.
They're inspirational cards written by each animal.
Yes.
Each different animal, which is so cool.
Animals talk to you. We walk beside you. Animal messages for an awakening world. Can you imagine what the animals would say to us? How are you treating this world? You know, Sandra is a certified polychromatic light therapist. Wow, what is that?
I don't know. I'd love to find out.
An equine photopuncture therapist. Oh my gosh, what is that? A health coach and an author. I know those two things. Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
You're cracking me up too much. I can't stop laughing. What a great way to start the day. Thank you.
And where are you? Where are you calling from?
I am calling you from your state, a little bit further south. I'm in Palm Beach Gardens.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you for being on the air with us this morning. How many animals do you own? Do we own animals, by the way? Is it a proper thing, or do they get upset with that word, own?
Well, I think if you're asking that question, you already know. It's more like a partnership. You know what I mean? There's no accident what animal you live with. And you're learning a whole bunch of stuff from each other. So I like partnership there.
I know. See,
Me too.
When I got my dog, I wasn't going to get a dog because the dog, 1 month earlier, the previous dog had died. And I was really sad. And I saw this puppy and I said, no, I don't know if I want a dog. And then I ended up getting a dog. And I said to her, the only problem with getting you is that you're going to die. and the dog looked at me as if to say, are you going to eat that?
Yeah, that's not in dying. So is not in her vocabulary.
I figured this is a good partnership because I just said something horrible and she didn't care.
That's because death is considered a human construct. There is no such thing in the animal world. I can literally tell you what a skunk told me. He said, I'll talk about death because to us there is no such thing. We just hang out in our bodies for a little while. Then they start to break down. Then we get a new model, like a car. And if you think we keep on picking the same make, model, and color time and time again, you couldn't be more wrong. We pick different vehicles for different lessons. This time, I'm a skunk. Next time, perhaps a porpoise, or a walrus, or even a human. But you have to be ready for that, because it's complicated, and you have to live in your head and have your senses dumbed down.
I think I might have been a skunk once.
I know, it's kind of like, So yeah, this shell that you're living in the animal world is just that. You know, you love it, don't identify with it, and there's a whole lot more that comes on the other side of when the body starts to break down.
Really?
I love the hippo. I mean, you've got a few sayings by hippos, but the funny one is focusing on crap just yields more of it. And it's true. I mean, when you think about what the crap really is.
We have a hippo here, by the way.
His name is Lou.
His name is Lou, yeah.
He's 53.
Is he a real one?
Yeah. We have a
old.
place not too far from here, Homosassa Springs, and it's a state park now, but once upon a time it was like a tourist attraction. And so when the state bought it, they had to change all the animals to native animals, and the community was in an uproar over Lou the hippo. They said, no, you got to keep Lou. So Lou's still there. And Lou will back up to the wall and, spin the tail, and there you go.
Wow!
Just fling crap everywhere. And if I was a hippo in a past life, and I still old habits die hard.
I love the quote by the wolf. Being terrified of being alone is like being afraid to open Christmas presents. Even if you find things not entirely to your liking, they are still gifts. I mean, these are very profound. And did the animals talk to you and really tell you this?
Well, it started very unglamorously 5 years ago when I was doing the light therapy work you referred to on a horse's foot. So I was down there, crawling around on the floor, and I'm alone with this horse. There's no one in the barn, and I hear a voice boom loudly in my head, "This hay is crap." And I look up and I notice he's kind of flinging hay away with his nose. And about 5 minutes later, one of the human moms walks in and said, "There's mold all over the hay." So it started very simply like that.
Wow.
A few weeks later, though, another horse, if you will, said, or I heard, things that completely flipped my perspective of what animals know and perceive and how they live on its ear. And it took me 3 years after that to fully believe that I was not making this up. I needed a whole bunch of proof, as humans typically do, solving problems for humans by getting the solutions from their animals.
Really?
Yeah, I was a diehard skeptic.
So,
I thought that this is the kind of stuff that happens to other people, but the fact is we all have abilities to connect with animals and understand what they're communicating.
Really?
It's a human right.
I hated going to work. My dog hated when I went to work. My dog loved when I came home. That's probably true for every dog, right?
Yeah, they're alone.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is very much. Dogs really partner with us. I mean, all animals are different in their relationships with humans. Horses are breathtaking in how they show us our behavior by how they respond to us, and they show us our thoughts. Dogs are just what you think. They truly, even if you're horrible to them, they will love you endlessly. And they're also here to teach us to trust our inner knowing.
What about cats? Cats don't seem to care. If I came home, my cat didn't jump all over me.
Yeah, but he liked being held by you.
He liked
even
being...
let me hold him.
Yeah.
They're just cats. I mean, they have different likes and dislikes as we do. I mean, most cats don't like to be roughhoused, except for my brother's cat. He could fling it around. He could fling that thing around by his tail, and the cat could never get enough.
Because he loves your brother.
But you know what? We got to remember, we're all unique. There are certain things that are, specific to a given species, but there's so much variation individual by individual, just like us.
So do you ever, okay, you're in Palm Beach, it's kind of metropolitan there. Do you ever hear like a city animal talking, like a squirrel? And are they upset with all the traffic and the roads and the construction? Would they rather be in the woods? In New York City, the squirrels are really fat because everybody feeds them. So I think they probably like the city, the squirrels.
No, I think those squirrels have really chosen a much tougher path, because to feel nature and to be in sync with its rhythms is really hard in the city. I lived in Manhattan for 16 years, so I know. I'm glad that you mentioned the squirrels, because they were the first wild animals that that's how they presented themselves to me, as let's share what we really see in you humans. Let's share our perspective, and they're hysterically funny. What they wish for?
Yeah, what'd they tell you?
They miss the days when we used to sit on park benches, if things are so fast, if we would just slow down. As this squirrel told me after the book was written, he's like, heck, it's like numero uno, slowing down.
Do they take advice? I mean, like, for example, a pigeon walks with his head back and forth, forward and back, boom, 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 right?
You're funny.
I say to the pigeon sometimes, what? I mean, why do you do that? That's crazy. Why would you walk with your head bopping back and forth?
Well, you know what? There are certain needs of the body that, squirrels and birds move quickly, and, they look at, bugs bite. Animals have to kill for prey. They just look at those as needs of the body. It has no reflection on their inner self.
You had referenced one of the chapters in your book, how you received therapy from a horse when you were going through a split in your relationship. And that was totally unsolicited by you to this horse. This horse seemed to sense your need for a counselor.
There's a whole bunch of this stuff going on, and it's called energy healing that you get from animals. And that one blew my mind.
I want to hear more about it, but I just wanted to slip in there. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we have a place here in Ocala that has therapeutic horses, and and we've had them as guests in the studio, and the people who have benefited from that experience have these amazing stories of getting over PTSD. An autistic girl who never spoke suddenly starts to speak. I mean, there have been some amazing stories from that.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because people are looking at the outer results, as well we should, because we're using or enjoying animals' healing properties and in so many ways. And the horses have told me how they do it. They work on your energy field. They truly do. There's apparently, different layers of our aura, the energetic field around us. And that is what the horses did for my dog. That's what they did for me. People start to notice, wait a minute, all of a sudden I'm yawning and yawning when I'm around this horse. Why? Releasing. You're releasing negativity, constrictions in your energy. It's amazing. There's actually a place I went to up in Canada, and many of these programs are popping up everywhere, where the horses do energy healings on people. You lie on the table outside, and they come and gather around you. Your eyes are closed, and you're like, what's going on? And you start to feel things in your body, and you look up, and there's a horse with his muzzle like right over your belly. They go right to where your problems are.
Wow.
I mean, one woman apparently was like, no, I'm fine. And the horses kept like nipping at her butt and kind of nosing it. And apparently she almost lost her legs in the past and had horrible trauma that she was, energetically still holding in her lower body. And the animals knew it. The horses knew it.
Do animals know if we're vegetarians or carnivorous? Do they know?
That's an interesting question. Thank you for giving me that for some content, because I need some more questions to ask them.
Well, because today is Mr. Rogers' 50th anniversary from Mr. Rogers. Yeah, and he was a vegetarian. And I did it for like 3 years. I didn't eat meat for 3 years, and then I went out to L.A. and they had a hamburger joint. And I said, "Oh, okay."
I'm a carnivore.
So, but I remember, I'm not making this up. I was taking a walk one time. This one I was much younger, and I walked past a field of cows, and I looked at the cows. This is during my vegetarian 3-year period, and I said, "Oh, I don't eat you anymore. I used to eat you, but I don't eat you anymore." Yeah.
So were they happy? Did they all like moo at you or something and to applaud you?
I'm not being silly at all. This is absolutely true. I really, when I listened to them chew, because they were right up to the fence too. This is in Romeo for those who are local. I was walking from Romeo to Rainbow Lakes Estate, so anybody over there knows there's a lot of little farms and things. And I was listening to him chew, or her chew, whatever, and I just thought, wow, I've never really thought about this before, that you used to be my hamburger, and now you are again. I kind of backtracked, I guess. But
you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at it this way. No. I mean, to get right to the subject, there are animals that need to eat other animals. There are animals like cows and horses that are herbivores. The issue is not whether so much we eat the animals, and let me preface it by saying I've spoken with animals that don't take issue with giving their lives to a family or a village that appreciates them, that treats them well until their very last breath. Their feet are on the ground, they have pasture, they graze, they're appreciated. It's the concentration camps. It's what's going on in the factory farms. That is so bad, and I don't talk about it in the book, and I refuse to, because the animals really only want me to put out positivity, because that's what they focus on. If we just smear our noses in everything we did wrong, people shut down.
Oh my, I love that positiveness. I really honestly do. Well, how about birds? Because they seem to be so free. They just flit around everywhere, but I think most birds mate for life. So they have, their mate, and they've got this mate for life, and they just do what they do, and they don't really bother anybody.
Well, again, I'm glad you're bringing up these questions, because some species mate for life. Some species are monogamous just for, one cycle of childbearing, and then they're on to the next. So
some women are like that.
Yeah.
Honest, these women are married 4 and 5 times. They each have a kid from another person,
We try so hard to simplify things by making generalizations. Like, if we are monogamous, that's the answer. If we're vegetarian, that's the answer. What the animals really focus on is what we do with our thoughts. That garbage or that hell that we can create between our left and right ear determines what we put out into the world. And animals are energetic creatures. They feel this. So, like the birds, for example, made it very clear to me that they wish we could experience what it is like to soar and see things from a higher perspective and see that so much of what we worry about is just so small and inconsequential. And if they fly over you, it's for a reason. Lately, I've been really enjoying the fact that they seem to poop on the side view mirror of my brand new car every day. Because this one particular bird is fascinated by his appearance in the mirror. And he's quite handsome. He looks like a cardinal. I forgot what kind of bird it is. It's bright orange red. So, we want to make these sweeping statements. Does this apply to all animals? Does that apply? The only thing that I can truly say is what they communicate about using your thoughts. And the messages from the animals that repeat themselves are, if you take better care of yourself, by extension, you end up taking better care of other people and the rest of your world.
I love how you advocate that these cards should be used one a day, that you are inspired. I know a couple of years ago I received a book about thoughts every day, for 365 days a year, so I read them every day. But these cards are really thought-provoking. They're deeper than what you read. There's some of them are funny and make me laugh, but but they also are very reflective.
Well, you know what? I realized that when people read a book, they're in their head. They may be pressed for time. They may have an issue with, am I getting the point? Or how fast am I reading? And then you put the book down and it's over. But what the animals have to share are, these one-liners can really change how you go about your day, how you see things, including yourself, right down to self-love, and how you adjust your thinking before you step out of the house in the morning. Put your hand on your heart before you leave the house. Vibrationally, you'll shift into the good. And that's something anybody can do.
I'm looking at the card. I'm looking at the cards. Tristan is a dog.
Yeah, my friend's dog.
Pretend you're a dog and practice non-judgment. I have a question about this. Okay.
Go ahead.
My neighbor has a dog. The dog doesn't know that I'm okay. And the dog will bark at me, and I say, I'm okay. You come on. I am not a burglar. I'm good. I'm good. I think that dog is being judgmental. I'm not going to hurt it. I'm not going to do a thing.
Is that the one that wears a skirt?
That little one with a skirt, yeah. Comes out and barks. It's like a chihuahua or one of those little ones. I think they do. I think Tristan is wrong. I think dogs are judgmental.
No, that's not judgment. That's reactivity. There's a difference. Does dog really wear a skirt?
Yeah. The lady's. She's a.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. Wouldn't you bark?
Yeah, but she's barking at me. I don't put the skirt on her.
Tell you to take it off. No, I'm kidding. Help me. Get me out of this contraption.
Listen, I have an animal story to share with you. You ready for this? All right, I live in a mobile home, okay? And there's a hollow space underneath it. And at night, I thought I heard a ghost. And I thought, gosh, that must be a friendly ghost because he's never bothering me. So I named him Casper. Well, the one day I was leaving because I have to get here early in the morning, so I turned on my car and the lights came on, and there's Casper is an armadillo. So now I know I have a animal living under my house, an armadillo, and he's got a name, Casper. So I say to my friend, hey, I got an armadillo. I named him Casper. Blah blah blah. Okay. About a week later, I come home. My other neighbor says, hey, Casper's been digging in my garden. I said, he's not mine. I don't own him. I just gave him a name.
You see, see that? You give an animal a name, automatically it's yours, and you're the one to blame.
I mean, could we talk to Casper? Could we say, look, you can dig anywhere, but don't dig in her garden?
That's something that people ask me all the time because they may have an issue with a mouse or a rat, and here's the thing. I can't promise you anything, but I can tell you don't, can't, won't, shouldn't, no. Those, just like when you're talking to the universe, they don't exist. Okay?
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Only focus with your mind and your words on what you want the animal to do.
I wish you had told me this when I was a kid.
Everybody keeps saying no. Yes, your dogs do in time figure out, what no means because you sound miserable and your energy is, is angry. They don't want to feel that. So, if I do this, I get the angry energy. And I hear the angry thoughts.
So when you were a kid, when you tell somebody something, would you learn that from? I heard it from a little bird, and you really do hear things from little birds.
Yeah, well, there are animal communicators springing up all over the globe. The most fun I've had with this is that people are writing to me from, the UK and Australia and saying, yeah, this is validating that what I felt or what I heard or what I saw image-wise is really coming from the animals. I'm just one of a whole bunch of people that are waking up. I happen to hear, and they told me they slow down the thought enough so I can record it. I mean, I fall asleep on them sometimes.
And do they wake you up? Do they nudge you and say, "Hey, we're not done talking yet"?
Well, they some of them, when I was writing the book, would wake me up in the dead middle of the night, and they were invariably on the other side of the world. So I was figuring they were having lunch, and they woke me up at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So how come?
But that was 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning here.
How come if animals don't have the death thing is not real for them? Why do elephants seem to be mourning? You ever see those specials on National Geographic where one of their tribe dies and they're crying?
I love you for asking that question because I'm pulling up my notes here because I actually asked elephants. Here it is. They said, you do not need to be with us in physical form to make a difference. To us, thoughts make as big a mark as actions. Share this point over and over again, for it is difficult for humans to grasp. So I said, then why do elephants bury and visit their dead? Why are actions necessary? They said, these are rituals, and like your own, they bring us comfort and reinforce our sense of community. But we don't need them to understand another's feelings or to share our own. So chimps apparently pray and even scientists have recorded this on camera, have ritualistic behavior that they call praying. And
really,
certain animals like elephants have rituals like we do. And here it brings them comfort and reinforces a sense of community, but it isn't necessary for the sharing of thoughts or to pick up another's feelings. I mean, the animals keep telling me they do most of their communicating through the thought stream, and they save the vocalizations for alerts and the big important stuff. But most of the communication is through the thoughts.
When we catch and release a fish, are we teasing them? Do they see a hook later on and go, no big deal, they'll throw me back?
That is a very interesting question. I would imagine, because again, the uniqueness of every soul is something you always want to keep in the back of your mind. There are some fish that may keep on going back and biting that stupid hook, thinking that, oh, yum, it's free food. There are other ones that have caught on with the program and they steer clear of your hook, because who the hell wants a hook down the throat?
I guess.
Exactly.
I guess.
When people say that, it doesn't hurt them, why don't we stick a hook down your throat and you get back to me?
This is so fascinating. The book is beautiful, by the way. Sandra, and gosh, you are a beautiful lady. I hope you don't mind me saying that. Let me see. I have a copy of the book and I have the deck of cards. It's called We Walk Beside You. If you would like the copies that were sent to me, I'll give both the cards and the book to one person. If you call me right now, it's yours. The number is 622-9622. I went to your website. That's how I know how beautiful you are. And
inside and out.
I just could not copy and paste your photo because it wouldn't do it. But I got you. But I put the cover of the book on here, so maybe later on I can edit it in there. Sandra, thank you for being on the air with us. Good luck with everything. Give us the website I went to is smendelson.com. Is that the one you want to recommend?
Absolutely, because the blog is there, so people can get a real sense of what the animals are sharing on an ongoing basis.
That is amazing. Can I squeeze in one last one? Do bugs talk to you?
They spoke in unison, and they said that theirs is a life of anonymity, total relinquishing of the ego, that they are the beginning of the animal food chain, and they have just turned everything over to weaving patterns of energy. I'm like, whoa, that we don't know what they do. It's all invisible work, but it's truly
it sounds like something
heavy.
A bug would say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, think about it. They're like, we're totally anonymous and we're crushed at a moment's notice.
Do you know, I believe that roaches do reincarnate, because every single day, the same roach is on my sink. Every single day I kill him. Every single day he's back.
Then you really have to read this section on at the end of the chapter on the rat, which showed me my own dirty laundry. There was my story about the palmetto bugs, because I now have reached some sort of like peaceful détente where I said, I don't want to see you. So if you're here, make sure that you are gone by the time I wake up, even in the middle of the night, for a glass of water. So far, I haven't seen them because they could feel that I just was not getting over it. I think spiders are adorable.
Really?
But we have these things that we have to learn how to work with if we're not in that state of I love everything. And for me, it's the palmetto bugs. So maybe tell them that. Just say, I don't want to see you. No, just don't be here. Be here when I am not here.
Why? I have a question about men and women for something. When men and women are ready to make love, right? If there's a dog in the room, the woman will always say, no, come on, it's Fido's in the room. And the guy will say, come on, it's a dog. Why do women not want to, do it when there's a dog?
I have a good one-line story for you. My dog was in the room, and what he said to me was, "What are you doing?" Really? And needless to say, that person turned out to be really, really, really wrong for me. But the dog knew it, so maybe
so it wasn't,
the women are onto something.
So it wasn't the sex that was the problem; it was the guy having it with you.
That's right.
When the dog knew it.
I thought they were.
The dog was way after me.
Wait a minute. So they are judgmental. You have to have a talk with Tristan. Tristan is not telling us.
No, it's not judgmental. He was trying to protect me. He knew better than I did. I was just on the slow boat. It took me a few months.
Yeah, a few months
to figure out that this was the wrong person.
Oh my gosh. Not now. The dog's. We got to go. I kept you too long. Sandra, thank you for being on the air with us. That was fun. Very fun interview.
Thanks a million. You guys are great.
All right. We'll be right back.